Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we have to break down the latest injury news surrounding your Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's been some big news on both sides, more positives for Seattle, more negatives for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When you look at this injury report, you kind of get where I'm going with it. I understand that it might not be the easiest to see, but I think it's pretty obvious to tell. Seattle Seahawks injury list, very small. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers injury list, very large. We're going to dive into what that means and more on today's show. But I'm telling you listeners right now, you viewers, you wonderful 12s, that the Seattle Seahawks are going to beat the Buccaneers on Sunday. Do you agree with me? Type true down below. You disagree? Type false down below. I better see a lot more trues. I want to start in Seattle with your Seahawks. So let's go through the injury report because while it is small, there are some key names on it. Nick Emmanwori is set to return. Coach Mike Macdonald said right when he got injured that if he was going to play, he needed to practice. He wasn't like Devon Witherspoon or Julian Love where he could just show up and perform. He was a player that needed to be a full participant in practice. Guess what we've seen so far this week? We've seen Nick Emmanwori be a full participant in practice. I completely expect him to be out on the field on Sunday, and I'm fascinated to see how the Seahawks are going to use him. Darian Kendrick's been playing in that nickel spot in his absence. He's been playing really well. Dude already has 2 interceptions on the year, bunch of pass breakups, a couple tackles. How is Seattle going to kind of mix making sure that Kendrick gets his time as well as making sure that Nick Emmanwori gets in that big nickel package? We're finally going to get to see an entirely healthy secondary. Yeah, kind of. We're kind of going to get to see that, and I'm going to dive into it more here in 1 second. But when you look at the depth, you finally get the full complements of this safety unit. You finally get to see Kobe Bryant flying around in that free safety spot making plays. Julian Love, probably going to get to see him run around. I'll have more on that in a little bit. But Nick Emmanwori can go back into that backup strong safety spot as well as Ty Okuda. He's going to be able to be back more in that free safety spot. You saw him struggle a little bit in the big nickel position that he had to play a couple times in the absence of Emmanwori. When you look at the cornerbacks, I do believe, now I'm going with what the Seahawks have released as their depth chart. So this is a correct depth chart right now. What I think you're going to see is Darian Kendrick slide into that nickel spot and Devon Witherspoon slide into that left cornerback spot. And you are going to see Josh Jobe, Devon Witherspoon, and Darian Kendrick out running around making big-time plays for your Seattle Seahawks. Now, I say all that to make sure that I do mention, and why I kind of did the maybe healthy, is that you do have a couple of players on that injury report in the secondary still. Starting with Devon Witherspoon. He played on Thursday night. He hasn't practiced yet. Now, when you're dealing with an MCL bruise, it can be very finicky. You might wake up one day and say, hey, I feel great. I can go out there and perform like one of the best players in the NFL. And then the next day you wake up, that knee gets all swollen, and you're not able to go. Devon Witherspoon, I do believe, is going to play on Sunday. I think you're going to see him out running around and that the team is just deciding to rest him. Now, I made sure to mention this when it came to Nick Emmanwori, that Mike Macdonald said, hey, you have to practice. When it came to Devon Witherspoon's injury, that's not someone who needs to practice, and Mike Macdonald made that very clear. You've already seen him come out and perform as one of the best players in the NFL. He can continue to do that. And an MCL bruise takes time to heal. If you're not going to give it that time to heal, it's going to take extra time to heal. Just because if you normally were able, off-season, Devon Witherspoon takes a month off, his knee's fine, good to go, then that's about the normal time it would take for that bruise to heal. When it comes to in the middle of the season where you got to go, hey, man, you only get 2 weeks off. The rest of the time, you got to be out and practicing. Don't be shocked if you see Devon Witherspoon end up on the injury report a few more times for the next month, 2 months, maybe even 2.5 months. because it just takes extra time for that MCL bruise to heal, and they're giving him that time. You saw him, be a little rusty on Thursday night. Hopefully he's putting himself in a position to be less rusty. I am completely confident that he will be back and ready to go. Julian Love is the other player that I said, hey, I'm going to talk about them a little bit more. He missed practice again with a hamstring injury. Again, I'm not worried about Julian Love like I would have been if this was Nick Emmanwori, because I don't need Julian Love to practice. I need Julian Love ready to go on game days. And boy, was he ready to go on Thursday night. I felt like he played a pretty good game. It wasn't a Julian Love type of game, but if I'm going to get 80% of Julian Love, I expect Julian Love to play like most safeties, not like the rare exception of safety that I believe Julian Love is. When I rank my strong safeties, I'd rank Julian Love as one of the top guys in the NFL. So if I'm going to get 80% of him, I'm going to get basically an average safety performance, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence, I think we can all just take a big, deep breath in and a big, deep breath out. When he left the game on Thursday night, they said thigh injury. My brain immediately went to the worst. Is he going to be able to play? Is he going to be able to return? How long is he going to be out? Are we looking at DeMarcus Lawrence on the IR? With how well that he has played this year, that would be a huge loss, especially in the run game. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds like he's going to be questionable. Brady Henderson tweeted this out. Basically, Mike McDonald said, DeMarcus Lawrence, he's got a pretty good thigh bruise. He's going to be day-to-day, which essentially means week-to-week. But there's no reason to even worry about him going on IR. This is the type of injury that you give him some time, some rest and relaxation, he'll be able to come out and perform just like he was before. I do not expect to see DeMarcus Lawrence participate in the game on Sunday. There's a couple of reasons why for me when it comes to this. I think the first big reason is that it's early in the season and you don't want to risk a player who's been around the league a time or two, like DeMarcus Lawrence, trying to come back too soon and getting hurt because his body has a bunch of wear and tear. Let him rest. And the second reason why is because of who's behind him. Look at this edge unit. Right now, Boye Mafe could easily slide from that Sam linebacker position into that rush edge position, and he'd perform at a high level. He would perform at a level that allowed you to almost act like nothing is missing in the passing game. In fact, I'd make the argument that you might get more pass rushing opportunities, more opportunities for sacks by using him in that side because he's so good at stopping the pass. Derek Hall has been great so far. He's already the backup rush edge position. He could dive in there, come in, make big-time plays for you. He's already shown that he's winning at a high rate. I'd love to see Ivy get some time. I would love to see what the kid can do because he's a special talent, and we saw when he was given some run, yes, he made some mistakes in the preseason, but he also made some big-time plays. This isn't saying that DeMarcus Lawrence should be benched and that the Seattle defense will be better without him, but what I am saying is that this Seahawks defense is deep at the position DeMarcus Lawrence is there, and you can get 90-95% of the same production while resting him. And this is good news for Seattle. You could not afford to lose DeMarcus Lawrence for a long, extended period of time just because of what he adds to this team. And right now, he's winning in the rushing attack. He's making big plays there. Eventually, he's going to start making big plays in that passing game, too. You saw it with Uchenna Nwosu. He exploded. I think there's only a moment for DeMarcus Lawrence to get there. It's only a matter of time. He's going to get back to what he was. Make sure to show him some love, man. Make sure that you show DeMarcus Lawrence some zeros in the comment section. We want to make sure that he knows here at Seahawks Today, we love him, we appreciate him, and we want him to get a speedy, healthy recovery. He's going to be a big-time player for your Seahawks when they try and go into the playoffs and try and go after a Super Bowl. I got a couple of injuries that I need to report on from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before I do that, I need to talk to you about today's proud sponsor, and that, of course, is our good friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Sunday, I cooked up a nice little 3-pick power play for you. A lot of injuries in Baltimore. Derrick Henry, more than 86.5 rushing yards. Cooper Kupp doesn't have a touchdown this year. More than a half rush or receiving touchdown. And of course, Sam Darnold, more than 237.5 passing yards against Tampa Bay. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now remember, we looked. There was a big, long list. It went all the way past the screen of injuries that was going on at Tampa Bay. I mean, look at this thing. It is massive. It is so massive. Don't clip that. That you cannot see the Seahawks players on their injury report. It looks like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, every single player is on that injury report list right now. It must be rough down in Florida. It must be the most basic walk-through, easy practice of all time because everyone is on that injury report. Everyone in a Buccaneers uniform seems to be listed down. Shoot, I wouldn't be shocked if we went back through, combed through it, and we saw head coach Todd Bowles on the injury report for like a knee contusion or something. Everyone is hurt there. I do want to go through some of the big-time players for Tampa Bay that are going to be crucial in whether Tampa Bay will be able to perform like they have been against Seattle if these guys are healthy. We're going to start with Bucky Irving. Now, the former Oregon running back is dealing with a foot sprain. This tweet coming from Adam Schefter, ESPN's NFL insider. He was in a walking boot and on crutches in practice. Now, good news for Tampa Bay. They don't believe that this is a long-term injury. They believe that this is going to be something that is week to week that Bucky can recover from fast. I don't know if he'll be able to recover from it fast enough to get out and play in Seattle on Sunday. This is a quote here from Todd Bowles. We'll know more by Friday. Right now, it's a sprain. We're taking it day to day. If he's out of the boot by Friday, I'll be more inclined to say he's probably not going to play. Right now, Bucky Irving has not been reported as being out of the boot. I don't think there is any way that Bucky Irving comes out and plays on Sunday, or at least comes out and plays well on Sunday. He was in a boot and crutches on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he wasn't at practice. You cannot tell me that a guy who missed that amount of time is going to be able to come out and perform at a peak level, the level that Tampa Bay needs him to perform at. He's their most touched guy, and by that I mean gets touches of the rock the most, and he's got their most total yards receiving and rushing combined the last 3 weeks. You need that guy to be 100% healthy. He's not going to be. Mike Evans is out. I know that's a bold take. Not a doctor, despite what my Twitter account has led some people to believe. Right now, he is out with a hamstring strain. He injured this a week ago. That is a 3 to 4 week recovery minimum. So that means he should still have 2 to 3 weeks while he is out. I do not expect Mike Evans to come in and play this week. Frankly, I've already listed him as out. You probably should too. That means no one is healthy. I mean, shoot, even the guy we've got on the screen right now missed a practice. Now, of course, he had to be Mr. Tough Guy and come in and say, hey, don't worry about it. I'm Baker Mayfield. If it was a game, I would have went out and performed. It doesn't mean you feel good, man. It doesn't mean you feel like you're ready to go. This team in Tampa Bay offensively is going to be a shell of what they were. Even another guy who's going to play in this game, Tristan Wirfs, he missed some time. He's still coming back from his knee injury that made him miss a lot of time in the offseason and in training camp. I went through almost every key player on there except for Emeka Ibuka and Godwin, and everyone's hurt. And Godwin's still on the injury report because he just got back for his first game last week. Right now, this Tampa Bay team is basically a walking infirmary unit. Everybody is on the IR. If this was baseball, they would all be put on the 10-day IL. Seattle has to take advantage of these injuries. And I'm not here to say that we root for injuries because, of course, we don't. But when you have a team that isn't at 100% health and you're about as close as you possibly can be, you have to take advantage of that. You just got the mini bye. Use that extra time to heal up so that you're running faster. You're running like you were in week 1. Your bones feel good. Your muscles feel strong. Any nicks and scrapes, they have to be 100%. You went through a game like this already in week 1. The San Francisco 49ers were beat up. Now, it was the healthiest version of the 49ers because apparently every single week they find a new and fun, exciting way to get hurt, and every single player that they have that's worth a you-know-what gets hurt. But you can't let week 1 happen again. You're playing a team that is injured to the max. You need to beat them to the max. Whoop up on them. You're about to go through one of the more difficult stretches in the entire NFL, and we're going to know what you truly are. So if you have a game that's a little bit easier than it was supposed to, you need to jump on that. Jump on Tampa Bay, end this game early. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Make sure if you haven't already, go and smash that subscribe button on the channel. You're going to get Seahawks content every single day. Thank you for tuning in.